now in September. So we've got a fairly packed agenda this evening. I am going to let's have a comfort break about 7:30, so that we can all have a quick break. So welcome to Stephen and welcome to Mike. And again, pillar. Welcome, Mike. So we start with questions and comments for the member of the public. Yeah. Before I make a start, welcome Councillor Deane. Would you like to join us as a sub?
Can't stay for the whole thing, I'm afraid, so I probably shouldn't, but thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, yeah. Well, thanks, Nick. Yeah. So, Stephen, would you like? You have 3 minutes. 3 minutes.
Excellent.
Thank you.
I'll start by introducing myself. Then I'm Steve Walling. I'm a retired cartographer. I'm still working in the hydrographic office, but my interest really is today is the Shout About Taunton campaign that you've got at item 8 on the agenda for tonight. My interest so far is the heritage trail, I believe, is being updated or digitised. I've been in conversation with, well, by email contact with Laura Batcher, the culture officer, and I believe she's moved on to Wellington now. But what I've done is put together a little dragon hunt, which complements the heritage trail really. So I've got just an example of how I put stuff, but essentially, being a cartographer, I've tried to create a map of the town centre, and you won't believe how many dragons there are hiding around the town. So if, as I believe, the Heritage Trail is out to tender for an app, then what I'm proposing is I'd love to be able to collaborate whoever's putting it together and incorporate what I've done so far. So I've got examples of photos of dragons around town and how they fit in, and I've also developed it so it pulls together with the What 3 Word app, so that you can use your phone digitally. Hopefully young and old will enjoy it, and it's sort of I've also extended the premise, Taunton being a cricket town, so I've extended the premise of a cricket game where you're batting from the county ground, and then I worked with the town boundary, and believe it or not, there are still sort of Victorian boundary posts around the town. So I've got photos of that with, I didn't bring them tonight, but got a little cuddly red dragon that my daughter bought me, and that's what started the ball rolling really. So I've got, in all the photos, my dragon appears alongside the town boundary. So the boundary forms the boundary as in cricket. So locations on the boundary are 4 runs, beyond the boundary 6 runs, and then the array of dragons within the town are 1 to 3 runs. So I've devised a little game with there. So it's been developed as far as I've seen it, and I'd just like to be able to share it with the community.
Thank you very much. It's really interesting. So I think we would welcome suggestions if you'd like to. Would it be Tilly or yourself or Craig?
Yeah, so Tilly White Christmas is our new community lead. She's here on the top table this evening, and we also have Helen Ranscombe, who is the new culture officer. So we can certainly make some connections and contacts and drive this forward.
Excellent, thank you.
Very much. And Mike, welcome. I will with your items on the agenda. So when we come to that, I'll suspend standing orders, and you can actually add to that.
That's very kind. Thank you.
Thank you. So let's, without further ado, let's move on to the official business of the agenda. Do we have any apologies, Ollie?
Just from Councillor Strauss, Chair.
Thank you. Item agenda number 2, any declarations of interest on the agenda items that you've got? Councillor O'Donnell.
Yeah. Thank you, Chair. Just to say that for the
board members scheme coming up, grant for Robarts and Wellsprings. I am a member of Robarts and Wellsprings.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Thank you. Noted. Thank you. Turning now to the minutes of our last meeting, which was on the 15th of July. Have we all read the minutes? Any questions? Oh, Councillor Don.
Yes, thank you again, Chair. Just reading through them, there was one bit that I just wanted to address. It was on the Christmas fall offer. We had a long debate about it, and I'm just looking at the minutes about Resolve 2. So I remember at the meeting we pulled apart item 2. That was about creating a festive tree trail and getting 6 other trees, and the trees being a trail. And we split those two so that you would have a separate festive trail that would be in conjunction with Go Create or some arts, which we have got resolved as item 2. And item 3, the additional 5 to 8 Christmas trees to go around the town. I remember quite specifically in the meeting that we were mentioned certain locations. And I quite like those added to the minutes. So we did ask that the locations be included for Bath Place, the Independent Quarter, East Reach, Station Road. And we were quite specific that we wanted to make sure these additional Christmas trees were spread around the town into those locations. So it'd be nice if I would quite like those added to the minutes as a record. So hopefully when it comes to it, we can have a discussion as to why they cannot be put there, as opposed to having to go back and having a discussion as to why we should be putting them there. I think it was, I don't know if anyone else can remember, it was definitely East Reach, Bath Place, Taunton, the Independent Quarter, I think just up here, Station Road. Can anyone of the other councillors remember some of the other locations we were going for?
Just rewatch the video.
Okay. There you go. Let's really watch the video. Sorted. So, yeah.
Yeah, okay, thanks. Thank you, Councillor Don. Craig, can we look into that?
Yeah, sure.
So it's noted.
Yeah.
Okay, noted.
And then you can still vote to approve the minutes with those alterations. Yeah.
So can we just vote to amend the minutes with those alterations? Can I have a proposer, please?
Yes.
Councillor Pollard, seconder. Councillor O'Donnell, all those in favour? I haven't got my crib sheet. Thank you. Thanks for that. Thank you. There we go. All right, so let's move on to item 4, the forward plan. Have we all had a chance to have a look at the forward plan? Quite a things are getting added to it on a weekly basis, aren't they, Craig? I think with this community in place committee is ever really busy with different things. Has anybody got any questions on the forward plan? No. I mean, certainly for this particular month, a lot of most of the things are actually on there. I'm looking forward into October. Obviously, that's going to be another full agenda, I think. Any questions? No. If not, we'll move on to the next.
Sorry, can I just ask?
That's where done.
Is the 18th of September the deadline for award members initiative, or was it the 1st of October?
Well, Craig?
Yeah, go for it, Will.
Yeah.
We'll double check on that and get back to you. I'm not entirely sure. I don't know when the report deadline for the next community in place is.
Bear with.
Oh, so actually, is it there? So the deadline would be the 18th of September.
Okay. Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, which is a couple of weeks.
Yeah, not long. Yeah, not long. Yeah.
Couple of weeks. Thank you. Thanks, Craig, for that. So, agenda item number 5, update from the chair. To keep this nice and short, there isn't a lot to update. We met on the 15th of July, and I think a lot of the recommendations and work that's happened since then, the work is actually on the agenda this evening. So that's saving me from recapping and so on. So with that, we'll move on to updates from the chairs of working groups. So before I'll kick off, because I've had a just copied, they've printed off the report from Councillor Strauss from his couple of working groups. So we'll start with the town twinning working group. So this is from Councillor Strauss. With regard to item 10 and item 6, I understand that the Friends of Königslutter have been experiencing an issue regarding compliance with the grant application, and assured them that we will assist them to complete the paperwork if necessary. And this is most urgent as Königslutter party are out at the weekend. And I think short date on that, I believe that's all been, it's all been sorted and all been sorted out. The Hospitality, Leisure and Tourism Working Group, Councillor Strauss has been invited to attend GWR Destination Partner Conference in Plymouth on the 24th of September. He'll already be in Plymouth the previous day for the Jewish New Year service. It's no cost to the council whatsoever, and GWR has provided a rail warrant for the return journey and transport to and from the conference venue. He'll declare as a councillor and rather than mayor, and he'll report back on that meeting in due course. Nothing to report from the Public Transport Working Group, and also the Civic Task and Finish Working Group hasn't met since that, so we can't come back on that. So shall we now kick off with the Arts and Culture in Taunton Working Group? Anything to report from that, either Councillor Garside or Councillor Heads?
We're having a meeting, a reconvening. We may rebrand ourselves as a forum. And we're reconvening on the 2nd of October at 12:30 in here. All councillors are very welcome to attend.
What time was that again?
12:30, Thursday, 2nd of October.
We haven't got anyone here from Major Projects Working Group. I think the list, I highlighted this with Craig, didn't I, earlier in the week, that the list that we've got the working groups under our umbrella has suddenly increased. I'm not 100% sure why. That's something we're going to look at. Councillor O'Donnell, did you want to come in on that?
Yes, I was just going to say both the Major Projects Working Group and the Day Parks Accessibility Group report to Operations and Assets.
I did wonder, but I thought we'd double check it well here. Thank you for that. Thanks for that. We can adjust that. Ollie?
Yeah, I think when the agenda was published, all of the working groups are there are not just the ones from the us. So
they weren't sort of teased out. Okay, that's fine. So you reported on, Young People's Working Group.
We need to reconvene quite quickly, don't we, Craig? Because we have Craig has got some feedback about, in terms of the spec that we agreed, that's been democratically agreed, what the value of that is, and it means we have to go out to tender. So we will quickly reconvene, and then I'm guessing community and will it become a community in place next month, Craig? If we
go
out to tender or.
Yeah, so October, because we'd also like to nominate a councillor to be part of that tender process.
Yeah. Tim, is there anything you wanted to add to that or? Okay, thank you. Thank you. Oh, that was quick. So we usually have a representative from our local police team here tonight. The invite was sent out, but unfortunately we haven't known any representation this evening. It may well be that issues and staffing, and they might have been taken away somewhere else which quite often happens. But suffice it to say, if there are any questions, always, if there are any questions from members of the public listening or any councillors, just let us know and we can actually feed those questions back in to the local policing team. So, agenda item 8, shout about Taunton campaign. For that is going to be delivered by Craig Wassiter, and we are going to be asked to consider to approve the communications and engagement lead, Craig, to investigate the proposal in detail, including working with Visit Somerset and obtaining quotes from contractors and bring back a detailed recommendation to the Community and Place Committee on the 7th October 2025. Over to you, Craig. Thank you.
So yeah, the campaign is to promote Taunton as a lively, welcoming town for visitors, residents and investors. Appendix 1 has an outline of what that brief would look like, but as Councillor Fernandez says, I'm asking you to give me permission to look into that in detail. The idea is to build civic pride, highlight culture, local businesses and natural assets and events aimed at visitors, locals, young people, families, professionals, businesses. And this will use a mix of digital and physical activities. It is in part a response to social media criticism that has been recently included in the local news stories, but it's also something that has been on our agenda anyway. External support will be needed to deliver this at scale without diverting our core comms responsibilities. It links into our corporate plan, responsibility for a prosperous town, engaged community and vibrant culture, and a council that delivers. At present, because it's without permission, there's no financial or ecological impacts as a result of this, just workload for me. Only risks is officer strain at a time when we're delivering Taunton together, and reputational risk if we don't follow through with this because of the public and media criticism we've had as a result. Any questions?
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Craig. Is it possible to suspend standing orders and let Councillor Deane actually add to that report? Thank you. Can I vote to just suspend standing orders just to let Councillor Deane? Can I have a proposer? And a seconder, Councillor Garson. Thank you. All those in favour? Thanks, Ollie. Thanks, Councillor Deane.
Thank you. Thanks so much, and thank you, Chair. Thank you for allowing this onto the agenda this evening. I think Craig summarised it brilliantly. One of the key reasons I put this forward and submitted the request really was the desire that we're doing a lot of really good things as a town council. We've got some really good medium-term plans coming on things around the information centre and other bits that this committee in particular are pushing really hard on, as well as our own communications output, which I think has been really strong since we were formed a couple of years ago. Really, the premise behind this proposal is to just provide some extra resource to our team, but just put some very short-term energy into getting a promotional strategy going for the town. So there are some core assets that are missing that we don't have in our portfolio, like a Visit Taunton brochure. It doesn't exist or hasn't been updated for some time. That just I think we can just make happen very quickly. There's just some core things that I think we can get going on between October and the spring next year when the information centre comes in, that helps us learn actually quickly what works well, what doesn't, so that as we decide what the medium to longer term looks like, we're building on some learnings and some data of things we've already done. So the intention here is this is a short-term piece to add some agility, to add some extra resource to Craig and the team, so that we can really, the phrase that lots of people have used with me, which is people often talk a lot about the potential of Taunton, people don't shout enough about what's already here. So the aim of this is to shout about what's already here, and I'm delighted that you've come along this evening with your trail, because I think exactly things like that should form a key part of this strategy and make sure that our whole town is an amazing place to visit, and to allow residents to discover things that actually they didn't know about the town, despite having maybe lived here for 5, 10, 15 or so years. So thank you for listening today. I hope we can give Craig permission to go away and do the next piece of legwork. There's room in the budget to make it happen, and I hope that we can move quickly to do so.
Thank you, Councillor Deane. So I can see we've got hands in the air already. So I suspect on suspend standing orders.
Unless Councillor Deane wants to speak further, then let's, or can we not, no, we can't, can we not do that?
He's a councillor, so
Yeah, I
I
know.
lots of committees I'm not on and just held forth as I stuck my hand up and whatnot, but I haven't had, nobody had to suspend standing orders, so maybe we don't need to because he's actually a councillor.
But it's not on committee. So it's just, yeah, it's just keeping things in line, that's all. That's all. And on you shout at me if I didn't. The democratic services. So do I have to vote again?
Councillor Deacon doesn't want to speak anymore or answer any questions, then yeah, we'd have to reinstate.
I won't reinstate them for now, just in case we need Councillor Deacon to answer. Councillor Ellis.
Yes, I think this is a no-brainer. I absolutely support this. We definitely need to be shouting about Taunton, and there needs to be a piece of work done to kind of really figure out what is our strategy going forwards. Let's make this happen. And once we've started to shout about Taunton, we shouldn't stop shouting about Taunton. Yes. So this can't be just like we'll do a bit of stuff for like 6 months. No, this needs to be sustained. It needs to become part of our core, what we do. Shouting about Taunton, but I do think it's a good idea to do a piece of work that figures out what can we add to what we've already got, how can we do things a bit differently, how can we mix things up, what new sort of methods and whatever could we deploy. I really think this is vital, and you're quite right, people have been quite frustrated that we haven't done enough to promote local events, or we're not, it's always Susie piping up and doing a lot of work promoting Taunton. It's like we need to step up and do a lot more. So I really welcome this proposal, and I think it's absolutely vitally needed. I also think we kind of this maybe is a bit cheeky, but I just also think we need to do a bit more as well about local businesses, and I'd love to see us investigate at some point. I think I put this in the climate strategy, a sort of shop local card scheme, and like Taunton gift cards as well. And I just think this all kind of goes hand in hand. So the idea is you'd have a Taunton like shop local thing, and you go round, you get your things stamped, and once you've got however many, you take it back to the visitor centre, monthly draw, and then you get a gift card to be spent in Taunton, the Taunton gift card or something. It's not a new idea, it's been done in other places, and I think it would have to be done, like you'd have to put a bit of real amount of effort into it, and yes, it wouldn't come without a cost, obviously. Yeah, no, but generally I absolutely support this and look forward to seeing what detailed stuff comes forward.
Thank you, Councillor Ellis. Councillor O'Donnell.
Yes, thank you. I'd just like to echo that. If we were parish council, we would have a parish council magazine, and that would promote everything that was going on in that parish, all the events going on, anything people wanted to advertise, but because we're such a large town, but we forget we are just a large parish. I think it's something we need. So yes, absolutely. I think it's a very good idea to do. Obviously, parish councils come up with parish magazines, which comes with a cost, and obviously someone needs to add to it and edit it. So the question is have we got the officer time, or are we looking at officers to do this, or are we wanting to engage with other, perhaps the wider community to perhaps contribute to this? But I think it's something we do need in Taunton. And of course, if you got, we have it both online and a hard copy, which you could actually put out to all the other parishes. They've all got village halls around about, and then they can all see what's going on in Taunton come in. So it's definitely something we should be doing. So yeah.
Thank you. Councillor Gosling.
Yeah, years ago we all had suited and booted.
Yes, that was it. I remember it.
You could find it in pubs and cafes, wherever you went, and just telling you what was on in Taunton that month or that week. But you found it was everywhere.
All the bands.
And it was a really good magazine because it had some little jokes in it. It was good. It was fun, and everybody got a mention. I thought it was a very, very good thing to do. But I totally endorse this. It's been a long time coming. We really need to shout much more about Taunton, because Taunton is a brilliant place with a brilliant history, and it's got such a lot going on. And I think people who complain actually don't know how much there is going on, because I went into the visitor centre today and they said there is so much here happening. You could go out every day, every night, and do something different. And people just don't know And this is the problem. It is a problem. Communication within Taunton is a problem. So we need to really look to resolving it. I really welcome this. Yeah.
Suited and booted. I knew there was one. I couldn't remember his name.
Councillor Pollard.
Fully in support of this as well. Of course, it's absolutely necessary that this is done. I'm always seeing, like, on Facebook and everything, you'll get one group of people was talking about how there's nothing on, but then you'll then literally the next post down see people talking about how much stuff there is on. So clearly there is a communication gap there. So anything we can do to, you know, stop that would be really good, because obviously we do have a lot of things. We have a lot of things that people can do, and I think they'd be happy to know more about that.
Thank you. In brief, Councillor Ellis.
I just wanted to say, I forgot to say, I love your I want to see your dragon map. I think it's amazing, and I think it's great that, because we were looking at like having, you know, like contractors or other people, companies do this, but having somebody who's local, who's done it out of kind of love and for all the right reasons, you know, I think it could be brilliant. So let's utilise those things in our community. And what was the other thing I wanted to say? Oh, blimey, I've forgotten. I've completely forgotten. It was really critical as well. What was
You're
it?
thinking about that. Does your map actually? Yeah. Does your map actually draw out the dragon?
Like a dragon. Not exactly. It's not like the Derby report.
Thank you.
I've remembered what the other thing is. If you want to know what's on a weekly basis, you follow me on Facebook and you've got clickable links, tells you everything, like daytime events, all of the attractions, where the art exhibits are, and you can click through and get your tickets.
Fabulous, thank you. So I think we actually all are very much in favour of this. So can I unspend standing orders? Do I have to vote again? Can I have a proposer? Councillor Pollard, and seconder, Councillor O'Donnell. All those in favour? Thank you. So they're back in the room. So we are being asked to approve the communications and engagement link to investigate the proposal in detail, including working with Visit Taunton and obtaining quotes from contractors, and to bring back a detailed recommendation from Craig to the committee place meeting on the 7th of October 2025. Can I have a proposal? Councillor Pollard and a seconder, Councillor Ellis. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Deacon. And good luck, Craig.
Yes.
I was just looking at the calendar, actually.
Thank you, everybody.
Editing.
Thank you.
Editor and chief.
So let's move on swiftly to agenda item number 9, the Taunton Cup. So I'll just briefly read the some recommendations. We can probably take some of them all together, I'm guessing, before we move on to the report. Whilst Councillor Rose is looking around with the biscuits, we are being asked to consider to approve the introduction of the Taunton Cup as part of Taunton Town Council's annual civic awards process. And that's the one that we have in at our Town Council meeting. So which recognises individuals or organisations for their outstanding contributions to the local community. 2, approve the proposed selection criteria at Appendix 3. 3, approve the formal repurposing of the uninscribed silver cup currently held by the council as the permanent Taunton Cup trophy. See Appendix 1. Number 4, approve the purchase of a replica cup or commemorative keepsake to be presented annually to each recipient for them to retain. Number 5, approve a donation of £100 to a local charity of the Taunton Cup's recipient's choice for the next 5 years worth of nominees. 6, grant delegated authority to the community and place manager to approve associated expenditure up to a maximum of £500 per year for a period of 5 years from 2025 to 2030. To be funded for the civic events and activities budget line 1707101. And finally, grant delegated authority to the communities and place manager to approve associated expenditure for year 1 only, set up costs up to a maximum of £1,000 to be funded from the civic events and activities budget 1707101. And who is the lucky person to be doing this? And it's Craig R. Over to you, Craig.
Well, the recommendations cover that in quite a lot of detail, to be honest, but a bit more background. The idea is to build on best practice of neighbouring towns. Bridgewater has the prestigious Bridgewater Cup that they award each year, and we did crib a lot from their process. It's going to provide a visible way to celebrate individuals and organisations that make that impact locally. Repeat purpose is a bit of our silver that we already have that is a bit nondescript at the moment, and make it something of a civic pride for the town. Any questions, really?
Thanks, Craig. Any questions? Councillor Carson.
No, I mean, I'd just like to say, I do think it's a good idea, and we already have the cup, don't we? So, you know, I mean, it's just lying there at the moment, not doing anything. And, you know, and it's a good idea that it should be used and that people should be recognised for, you know, the stuff that, what they contribute to the community. And, you know, so I'm in favour of it.
Thank you. Any other questions, Councillor O'Donnell?
Well, I'd just like to support what Councillor Garside said, because I think it's a very good record as well. You know, was it adding to the cup? You've got the record of people who've made a positive contribution. How many people can we add to it, incidentally?
I don't know exactly yet. We still need to get quotes for putting it on a base. It doesn't have one at the moment. We've had a few mishaps trying to get that. I walked down to Alpha Trophies and carried a big heavy trophy, and it was shut. So we haven't been able to take it to get the quote for that yet. So we don't know how big it will be, but it's going to be a lot.
I think it'd be really nice because you know, every year we give out awards, but people go back home to their individual houses, whereas we've got something now in town council that will give a big list of people who have made significant contributions. I think it should be widely remembered for it.
Thank you, Councillor O'Donnell. Any more questions? And thank you, Craig. Thank you. And for Jo, you know, it was Jo's gone into extreme detail with her recommendations.
Jo's work.
Worked very hard on that one. I think I can take all the recommendations as a whole, can we, Ollie? Yeah. So I'm not going to read them all out again. It'll be a while. So as read, absolutely. So can I have a proposer? Councillor Garside and a seconder, Councillor Pollard. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you. So now we turn to the item 10, which is the twinning grant application. Do I have to suspend again? Yeah. So I'm going to suspend standing orders so that Mike can actually add to, before I do the recommendations, just to add 3 minutes in support of the application. So can I have a proposer, Councillor Garside, and a seconder, Councillor Pollard? All those in favour, just to suspend them. Thank you. Carried. Mark.
Chair and councillors, thank you. I'll be commendably brief, I hope. I don't think I can do much worse than quote from the welcome which our incumbent mayor will be delivering to our 36 German guests when they arrive on the 7th or 13th of September. You've already got the bits and pieces in the application, and we've tried to support that with all the various policies. I will quickly quote from what our Mayor Martin Strauss is going to say. On the 7th of September, he will say, "It is with great pleasure that we welcome our distinguished guests and friends from Koningsleuter to Taunton. On behalf of Taunton Town Council, I welcome you to the county town of Somerset." The charter was signed by the mayors of Koningsleuter in 1992 and Taunton in 1993, although initial contact goes back to 1949. Taunton Town Council has a working group to support, develop and promote twinning activities with both Koningsleuter and the French twin town of Belvedere, and a number of members present here are aware of this. 2025 marks another chapter in the enduring friendship between our two communities, fostering cultural exchange and mutual understanding. Throughout the week of the visit, our German visitors will have the opportunity to explore the historic sites of Taunton, engage in vibrant conversation with residents, and participate in a series of events designed to celebrate the connection between the two towns. And then there's a note of thanks for the Friends of Koningsleuter committee. And the Mayor finally finishes with, we look forward to sharing memorable experiences and strengthening the bonds that unite us all. I think, to paraphrase what I think Councillor Garside said earlier on this evening, Taunton is a brilliant place and it has got brilliant people, and our particular organisation have been spreading that word in Germany since 1949. I don't think there's much I can usefully add, although obviously I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have, which I will answer to the best of my ability. I've been a member of the committee of the Friends of Königslutter since 2017. I think I'll probably be there forever, because as with all voluntary organisations, finding a committee is not the easiest task sometimes. Do you have any questions for me?
Any questions? No. Thank you very much, Mike. Thank you for.
Do you want an explanation of why we're asking for 2 grants?
I think you suspect it will come in the
It is in the application.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and Will be delivering the report, so it will be in there.
Thank you.
Details.
Thank you for your time.
Can we go back on to unsuspending standing orders? Can I have a proposer, Councillor Pollard, and a seconder, Councillor Garside? All those in favour? Thank you, carried. Thank you. And what over to you?
Yeah, thank you, Chair, and thank you, Mike, for your explanation. So yeah, just to add on, it's 2 grants of £1,500 each. The first is to host a civic dinner for the visiting delegation and local representatives, and the second is to support a range of events and entertainment throughout the week-long visit, showcasing Taunton's heritage, culture and community life. In terms of risks associated with this, is that this would fully exhaust the £3,000 budget that's put aside on an annual basis for town twinning activities. However, this is caveated with the fact that the Friends of Town Twinning Lizia group are not expected to make an application this year. So therefore, the full allocation can be awarded to Friends of Königslutter. Another potential risk is the non-delivery of proposed activities. However, the Friends of Königslutter group have a long-standing record of successfully organising these types of activities, as Mike has drawn on before. So yeah, essentially it's about.
If I may interject, I have the programme for the visit here.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. But yeah, thank you. If anybody wants to get in touch after, they can have a chat to you after. Thank you ever so much. Thank you, Will. So any questions for Will? No, thank you. So we are being asked to consider the recommendation. We have been asked to consider the twin grant application from the Friends of Königslutter and determine whether to award the requested funding as detailed in Appendix 1. So which is £1,500 towards hosting a civic dinner and £1,500 to support the delivery of events and entertainment for those visiting guests. And I have a proposer, Councillor O'Donnell, the seconder, Councillor Garside. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you. And thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Moving on to our ward members' initiative schemes. So I'm going to do, I'm just swapping them round. I've got a statement we got from Councillor Fraschini. Unfortunately, he's not able to end. So if we look at item 12, which is the Ward Members Initiative Scheme for Maidenbrook, I'll just read out a statement from Councillor Fraschini. Unfortunately, I'm unable to attend this evening. Please, could you provide this short statement to the committee? Dear Committee, my apologies that I'm unable to attend to discuss my WIMS Ward Members Initiative Scheme agenda item. Following support from the Operations and Assets Committee regarding this potential and most needed crossing, approval tonight of £1,500 for a safety audit will kickstart this exciting project, which is long overdue. Residents and I have for many years longed for a crossing to be installed, which will provide greater safety for children walking to and from school and those wishing to access Maidenbrook Country Park. Most of you will already know the dangers faced by those looking to cross the road as the current junction, and by working with West Taunton Parish Council, we can finally come up with a solution for all our residents. So I believe this is another report by Will. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Yeah, just to provide a bit of further background. So this project proposes a road safety audit at Tudor Park across the A3259 road on the boundary. It's literally right on the boundary between Maidenbrook Ward and West Monkton Parish Council. Currently, there is a segregated footway/cycleway, but there is no existing footway provision to the west of the Tudor Park junction, which makes it very difficult for residents to access the nearby Maidenbrook Country Park. In terms of risks associated, the risk is associated with project delay, and that conducting a road safety audit can lead to significant redesigns of what's currently proposed by West Monkton Parish Council. However, this is the first stage to kickstart the project so that any hindrances can be addressed straight away. There's also a reputational risk, as we are providing funding for people to access a park that is outside of our town boundary. The proposed site is on the border / within our boundary, and helps our residents directly by enabling them to access outdoor green space. So with that, yeah, it's £1,500 for a road safety audit. Any questions?
Thank you, Will. Any questions? Councillor Ellis.
I don't have any questions, and I think this is a bit of a no-brainer. I know, you know, the dangers on that road are obvious, and there's a potential solution, and he wants to put his ward member initiative scheme budget towards it. So I think it's absolutely really positive idea, and he knows his patch best and what's wanted out there. And the thing is that people do, Tauntonians do heavily use the Maidenbrook Country Park, so there's no, to me, there's no possible issue about saying, oh, it's going to benefit other you know, parishes. Of course it will, but Tauntonians will benefit when you're going to events there as well. You need to get across the road safely. So I think there's absolutely no issue with this whatsoever. And so can I propose that we accept it?
Yeah, do you want me to read the recommendation once more? Well, I'll read it once more and then you can propose it. So we've just been asked to consider the ward members initiative scheme application for £1,500 from Councillor Fraschini, member for Maidenbrook Ward, to conduct a road safety audit for a potential crossing at Tudor Park. Caroline Ellis has proposed. Can I have a seconder? Councillor Pollard. All those in favour? Thank you very much. Thank you. So turning now to the second ward members initiative scheme from Councillor Isaacs. And we are being asked to consider the ward members initiative scheme application from Councillor Isaacs for £2,345 to host the Wellsprings Area Activities Day on the 17th of February 2026. I personally think this is a fantastic opportunity, building on the success of the previous Wellsprings event that we had earlier this year, which was fantastically attended. So, Will, if you would like to just give a brief overview of what Councillor
Well, in Councillor Isaac's absence, I think it's supposed to be, and as the ward member, I would just like to speak to it actually, and just really endorse this initiative. We had one. Our first one was back in May. We've been meeting with the North Taunton Development Group for a while, and there's the Pride and Fireswood, which is a very successful event, and I think there's one wanted replicated up at Wellsprings, and we sat down with Wellsprings Community Centre, with Abby Cotley up there, and we came up with the main proposal. And sadly, I had to miss it because I was in France on the 20 exchange, and but I intend to be there for the February one. I think it was a very good event, and it's because it was so successful that we looked at doing another one. Now it is quite quick on the heels, but we recognise that actually February half term is quite a dry and difficult time for parents. You know, children are off on holiday, but it's cold, it's dark, the weather's miserable, and you know, what is there to do that you can, that's kind of nice and easy and quite free to attend. And so actually putting it in the February half term just seemed to help, you know, really the parents around that area have something to do for the February half term. I think it's a good good initiative, and I thoroughly support it as a ward member, and I'm hoping that he will also say thank you.
Thank you, thanks, councillor. I think we're, any more questions? I think we're ready to move to the vote. So we are being asked to consider the Ward Members Initiative Scheme from Councillor Isaacs for £2,345 to host the Wells Springs Area Activities Day on the 17th of February 2026. Can I have a proposer? Councillor O'Donnell. Can I have a seconder? Councillor Pollard. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So with the committee's permission, I'm just going to move agenda item 16, which is the agenda request for the Jazz and Blues Festival from Councillor Garside. I'm just going to move that to the next item agenda because Will is here, and then we can let Will go and enjoy the rest of his evening. That's all right. So item 16, the agenda request. We have been asked to consider the request from Councillor Vanessa Garside for a commitment of officer time and the exploration of potential funding sources for a proposal for a proposed Jazz and Blues Festival in May 2026. Over to you, Will.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. So as you just said, this is a report to commit officer time to exploring potential funding sources. I believe we are seeking funding of around £8,000 to help facilitate this. So there is a group of live event professionals known as the Gala Collective, organised by a person called Matt Rowe, and they are very used to organising these sorts of events, and this event would take place in the May Bank holiday weekend of 2026. We would look to charge for the event with an estimated 1,000 to 3,000 people attending. So the report is looking at what our funding will facilitate, as well as looking at how we can generate income from the event and sort of what benefits it will bring to us, as well as us committing the time. Potential risks for the opportunity, it could reduce the delay of reduce and delay the delivery of other town council events, as it's taking away officer time, which is quite limited at the minute. There's also a financial risk in that should opportunities not be found, this could put pressure on other budgets to provide the funding, and stakeholder management as engagement may raise public expectations before the event is actually confirmed. In terms of where the funding may come from, we could look into a number of things, such as a sponsorship grant to the organisers. We could look into using Ward Members Initiative Scheme funding from the members of Vivery, should they wish to do so, as this event will take place in Vivery Park. We will also explore the possibility for it to generate income for the town council as well. With that, I will pass over to Councillor Garside to add any further detail, should she wish to do so, and open it to vote.
Yeah, I'd just like to say that what they're really looking for is actually support from the town council more than anything else, so that that we are behind it, we are with them on this, actually more than the funding, because they actually said that they would go ahead anyway, but they would rather work with the council than on their own, because actually having someone to go to and ask for advice as regards permissions needed and this, that and the other, it makes it much easier if you have someone in the council to go to and ask. It's not particularly that the officers will have to devote time to planning this, because they will be doing the planning and they have all the expertise in doing this. And this festival also offers a great deal of opportunity for young people, young talent in the area, young musicians or young creative people who want to have experience of performing alongside professional musicians, for example, or in organising gigs, organising events. And they have an educational team as well on tap, associated with University Centre Somerset, who is able to deliver an educational programme alongside, and they very much want this because some of them are Taunton based people who are born in Taunton, to benefit the community of Taunton and particularly young people. And and I think it's a very, very worthwhile festival to to support, and it's intended to go over 3 days and with several events kind of running into it. So there'll be a lead up into the whole the big event, which will be in Ivory Park, and I'm very much in favour of it.
Thank you, Councillor Gosson. Craig, did you want to say something?
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, thanks, Will, for the report, and Vanessa for context there. We know that Ivory Park, it belongs to Somerset Council. Obviously, there's a lot of knowledge within the team here, and happy as part of that exploration exercise to meet with the event organizer and talk through the process and make those connections with the cultural team at Somerset Council and the relevant officers there to help facilitate, particularly if it's around just kind of what are our processes, what is the paperwork we need to complete. Happy to have those initial conversations as part of this exploration exercise.
Thank you, that's wonderful, Craig. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Hayes.
Yeah, this is a really exciting opportunity for Taunton, and Matt Rowe and the Gala Collective. They so know what they are doing, and it's great that they really want to come to Taunton. They see its huge potential. They understand what a great place it is to host events like this, and they can get amazing artists to come, jazz and blues artists, and yes, they need our sort of in principle support and sort of backing, as it were. They want to work in partnership, but they will do all of the legwork. They are very experienced event organisers. They really know what they are doing. It's just, I suppose, to understand the local context. So it'd be great to have meetings so that officers are connected with them, because me and Vanessa have met with them twice now. I've met Matt twice.
Yes, yeah.
So we know them, and we can help feed in our sort of contacts and links and whatever, so they know how the land lies and who they should be, they could link in with the Taunton Independent Market, for example. But Vanessa's right, I think more important than any funding, but we also need to explore funding opportunities, but more important than that is them knowing that we are really enthusiastic about it and that we support what they're doing. I think that's really key. And then any funding we need to focus on, because the festival will have amazing, all different levels of acts. And so, the tickets will be priced at, I don't know, anything from 35, 45. I think they're more keen to do it, sort of price it low and get people through, into Ivory Park. But then there'll be a whole area which is the free stuff, the free community stuff. So there will be acts that you can come and listen to and enjoy, which will be completely free. And also there will be opportunities to showcase young musicians, and there'll be a whole education programme around it. So that's the bit where the funding is, as Vanessa said, is going to be needed. So we just need to identify what's the best way of facilitating that. Once they've got their proposals a bit more, there's actually something on paper for us to look at. Well, we want to do this, and this. This is how much it's going to cost. Then we can look at, right, is it this pot, that pot? Is it grant? Is it sponsorship? What is it? But I think it's an amazing, I'm so excited about this. I think it will be, and then this could be an ongoing, could become as big as Rye and Sidmouth and whatever. This is going to be a real, thing on the national sort of scene, and it'll be happening in Taunton, so it's fantastic.
Thank you, Councillor Reynolds. Thank you. Any other questions? No. Thank you very much for that. Thank you. So just to sort of remind ourselves of what we're being asked to do, we're just being asked to consider the request from Councillor Garside for a commitment of officer time and the exploration of potential funding sources for a proposed jazz and blues festival in May 2026. Can I have a proposer? Councillor Pollard, and the seconder, Councillor Garside. All those in favour? And thank you, Will. And I think that draws all your reports to a neat conclusion. Thank you for your time. So moving on back onto the original order now of the agenda. So the agenda item 13, specification for the Taunton Together tender. So this is for looking ahead for Taunton Together 2026. I know we have got 2025 in under yet, but we have to forward plan. We have to think ahead. And is your report, Tilly? So when I sort my screen out. So we are being asked to consider to approve the drafted specification for Taunton Together event management tender, and to approve and provide delegated authority to the recommended review panel to review proposals and appoint a contractor. Over to you, Tilly. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. So we're seeking member approval for the specification which will be used for the Taunton Together Festival tender, and the delegated authority for the review panel for our contractor appointment. Just to note that this follows the resolution from the July 2025 committee, where a decision was made to proceed with the appointment of a consultant. The appointment of an event manager for Taunton Together from 2026. Councillors Garside and Ellis, who are the co-chairs of the Arts and Culture Working Group, have reviewed and endorsed the specification. We now ask members to formally approve the specification and to approve the proposed review panel, both councillors and officers, granting delegated authority for the panel to appoint the contractor. This step ensures timely progression of the project and enables the community and place manager to manage the service level agreement once the contract is in place. Upon approval, the procurement officer will finalise the tender pack, with the tendering process expected to take at least 8 weeks, and the goal is to appoint the contractor by late October/late November 2025. The specification is available as an appendix for those who haven't seen it. Thank you.
Thank you, Tilly. Any questions for Tilly on that report? All happy, and as Tilly said, it's been through. Yeah, as Tilly said, it's been through the working group. It's been approved. It's been scrutinised by the working group. So it's just coming to us as the final package. Councillor O'Donnell.
Yes. Thank you, Chair. I just had just wanted to make sure that this tender contract, this is actually just contracting someone to implement, isn't it? The Taunton Together, whereas the creative and the direction of it is still within the hands of the Community and Place Committee. Is that it? Or are we looking for them to be creative, or are we looking there for them to be completely creative? I'll start with that question first.
Councillor Ellis.
Definitely we want them to be doing the creative stuff. I don't think we can, I mean, as wonderful as we are, I think that what we're looking for are people who are, there are a number of organisations out here who do this standing on their head. This is like their bread and butter. They know how to put together and run amazing events, drawing on and representing and reflecting and engaging with all the kind of key sort of creative practitioners around Taunton, and engaging with the local community and getting them involved. So I think it's about a partnership, isn't it? Because obviously they'll be reporting back in to Helen, Tilly and Craig, so that we'll know what sort of direction they're going to go in, but they come up with the sort of creative ideas within a sort of broad framework that we've set, and they deliver it and they add in their creative Schutzpaar and amazingness.
Okay, so because one of the sticking points we had last month was how much control were we retaining over, say, the theme of what the Taunton Together is doing. Because like this year, it's all based around the tone, which very much, that's what the council wanted. We wanted to focus on the tone. Next year, we might want to focus on something else. Are we losing that kind of impetus? I'm still on the first question. But
No, I mean, if we wanted to have a specific theme, we can say, oh, well, this year we'd like to have blah. I'm not even sure it needs necessarily a theme, because it is what it is. It's the annual Taunton Together event. And yeah, it could be slight theme or whatever. So I think there's going to be a lot of two-way communication and regular engagement just to make sure that they're sticking to what they're meant to be delivering. So I don't really have any concerns about that at all.
Can I just bring, yeah, can I just bring Tim in just to sort of, you know, if you want to add anything to what Councillor Ellis has said about the the partnership and actually that overview.
Thank you. So the intention here is that it, as Councillor Ellis kind of correctly described, that it would be a working relationship. So although we would be appointing this contractor to help us deliver the festival, ultimately we would still be touching base, we'd still be having discussions, they'd still be kind of discussing and pitching their creative ideas to us. It wouldn't necessarily be we'd appoint someone and see them in the September. So there would be lots of regular check-ins. There would be also the fact that we're setting a brief for the events and for the specification and the appointment of that contractor. So the individual or the organisation would have a structure and a guidance that would be based from the council to guide them. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Garside.
Can I just say, as regards the theme is being together, is bringing the community together. That is the theme. The reason that we had the river is because originally, I think it was the visual artists, they said, shall we have a theme for our painting or whatever? And so, you know, I mean, I thought of building bridges, but Councillor Ellis said that this was a bit dicey.
One day.
I think the focus is bringing the town together.
Yes.
And the themes about what we want to draw out of that town, you know, whether it's the river or the bridges or our dragons, you know, it's you know, we could so many themes we could bring out, whereas the focus is getting the town together.
Absolutely. Yeah, but the main theme is bringing people together. That's the theme.
Communities.
Focus, yeah. So so they would still be reporting back each to us. So that's quite good. Yes. And the other thing, I was looking at the matrix on how we measure it all, and it seemed to be heavily weighted just in terms of the event management and health and safety, and less so for the evaluating the creativity and perhaps enjoyment. Have we got any metrics for trying to measure how much the town has enjoyed our event, so that we can feed that back in? Because I think focusing on how much the town really enjoys it, I mean, to focus like 30% on how well it's been managed, and less so on what did the town really enjoy it. And I was wondering whether we could perhaps even up the weightings a bit.
Tilly.
Thank you for the question. Perhaps maybe some clarity is needed, and maybe I misunderstood the question, but the matrix at the end of the specification is how we measure the appropriateness of the consultant when we appoint them. So that 38 out of 100 weighting for event management, health and safety is that experience of that individual organisation in managing events. So as part of that, we would ensure that, you know, how do they go about managing events, how do they have an event management plan, etc. But we also have got 20 out of 30 on programming and stakeholder engagement, where we do talk about evaluating how they consider creativity and alignment with thematic programming, community values, impact, which is our second highest. But as we are appointing the contract, we need to make sure that they are someone who is highly experienced in coordinating, managing events, particularly as we will be funding at the council from that health and safety lens. I hope that answers your question.
Well, I think yes. So this matrix is more about us measuring the manager, the person, as opposed to the yourself. Yeah, so I think that's probably about happier there.
Thank you, Tim. Thanks, Councillor. Any more questions? Before we come to the recommendations and vote. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for that, Tilly. So we are being asked to consider approving the draft specification to Taunton Together event management tender, and to approve and delegate authority to the recommended review panel to review the proposals and appoint a contractor. Can I have a proposer? Councillor Ellis, seconder, Councillor Pollard. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you very much, everyone.
Yeah.
So, agenda item 14, the wildflower recovery strategy. strategy, the budget increase, I need a set of new teeth. So while I'm figuring out on here, who's going to be reading this one? Tell me again. Okay, so we are being asked to consider requesting delegated authority to the community in place manager for the expenditure of up to £25,000, excluding VAT, from the climate budget to deliver a wildflower recovery strategy and leaving £13,470 in the climate budget. To allow the grants officer, the climate officer and the community lead to apply for additional national lottery heritage funding from the nature grant, applying for up to an additional £20,000. And to give approval of going out to tender for the wildflower recovery strategy to identify a contractor should we be successful in obtaining the additional up to £20,000 grant funding from the National Lottery Heritage Fund and bring the project expenditure up to between £25,000 and £45,000. Tilly.
Thank you. Thank you. So, as the chair explained, we're seeking delegated authority for up to £25,000 from the climate budget to deliver a wildflower recovery strategy, with an additional £20,000 potentially secured through a National Lottery Heritage Nature Grant. This would bring the total project budget to £45,000, enabling a broader and more impactful delivery. The strategy responds to the council's recent acquisition of 15 parks and green spaces, creating an urgent need for a coordinated, ecologically sensitive approach. The project will focus on 3 green flag parks, town centre planting and wildflower corridors, supported by a strong community engagement programme and low maintenance design, all of which is built into the requirements for the tender. Approval was also sought to go out to tender, and deliverables for this project will include site-specific designs, maintenance plans, as well as an evaluation to measure the social and ecological impact that the project will have. The initiative is designed to enhance biodiversity, empower communities and ensure long-term sustainability across our green spaces. Just to note that councillors may recall that at the start of the year, a request for £10,000 expenditure was submitted to support the development of a wildflower recovery strategy. However, due to being unable to process the work before the end of the financial year, and with internal changes, the budget was reabsorbed and the project scope was reviewed. So this is the next phase that's been picked back up. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And I think it's important to note that obviously since we've this year we've taken on those 15 parks, those extra green spaces. So obviously naturally budget is going to have to increase to actually increase for that. I think Jordan's done quite a bit of work around this to have a look at this wildflower strategy, and anything can be a bonus to keep our bees buzzing and to sort of encourage those. Any questions at all on the report? Councillor Ellis.
Not a question, just to strongly support. You're quite right, Jordan has done a heck of a lot of work on this, and it is really critical. I mean, my son's been rewilding our garden and we've got amazing wildflowers in our garden. Initially, that doesn't come cheap because you have to do certain works and buy quite a lot of seeds and whatever, and bulbs and things. So it is a bit, we are going to actually have to stump up quite a bit up front, and we have got so many green spaces, and it's not just the green spaces and the parks, but we want to create corridors as well. So we need to be looking for parts of Taunton where we can have little patches leading from one green space to another. And this is all about yes, it's about biodiversity, but why, what for? Our pollinators. Without our pollinators, there's no food. You can't grow food successfully, and we are the most nature depleted country in Europe. It's like crisis levels now. So this is absolutely vital.
Thank you, Councillor Ellis. And obviously we've taken on some unloved green spaces recently, haven't we, as a town council, so we can incorporate those into that strategy as well. Any further questions? Do we move to the vote? So I'm just conscious Ollie's not there.
That's cool. He's about.
We'll note it for him. So I'm not going to read them all out again. I'll take all three recommendations as a whole, and if we can have a proposer, councillor Ellis, a seconder, councillor Pollard, all those in favour. Thank you. So Ollie, we've just voted on 14, so councillor Ellis was the proposer, councillor Pollard. We've all in favour. Thank you very much, everyone. Item agenda 15, the Urban Tree Challenge Fund. Oh, got it right. Engagement approach and budget. So we are being asked to consider to request delegated authority to community in place manager for the expenditure of £4,000, leaving £38,470 in the climate budget for the delivery of a series of Urban Tree Challenge Fund engagement activities with youth demographics. Just before we sort of press on, does that affect the figures that we were given in the last about leaving the balances? I've just noticed that.
I believe it was written so that they would be presented the other way around. So the final amount we had from the previous report would be the correct number. That would be left.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Just to sort of go. So, iPad to work a bit quicker. So, Tim, are you delivering this one as well? Over to you, Tilly.
Thank you. So we are requesting £4,000 from the climate budget to fund stages 1 and 2 of the youth focused engagement programme aimed at reducing antisocial behaviour, which has been targeting newly planted trees in Taunton. This follows significant tree damage after a large-scale planting initiative in partnership with Somerset Council, and we're therefore proposing a targeted community engagement focus with local schools and youth groups at the locations which have been experiencing the highest levels of antisocial behaviour. Stage 1 will fund a range of key initiatives and outreach to include the organisation Blabbermouth, community storytelling, delivering creative workshops in local schools, targeting year groups 7 to 9 in the areas where we've been experiencing the highest levels of antisocial behaviour. These sessions will build emotional connections to the trees through storytelling, culminating in professionally produced podcasts that will serve a lasting legacy and educational resource. At this stage, we've received quotes for around £520 for stage 1, and a full breakdown of that is available in the report. Stage 2 follows this and is will be based on stage 1 feedback that we receive. We'll undertake diverse engagement activities which will be chosen from a list of proposed projects, which will expand to reach across different ages and different groups outside of local schools, and this will be funded by the remaining budget. This list was previously co-created earlier in the year by officers and councillors, as well as any kind of key partners, to get ideas about what appropriate projects may be. And the remaining requested budget would be used to support a range of the stage 2 initiatives that will be selected based on the feedback we received from the stage 1 activity. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Thanks very much. Any questions? I think this is a good initiative, and again, if we can find ways of getting those messages across to our young people to protect our trees. I know that the certainly with the ones that have been planted with cages around have helped to stop some of the vandalism, I know, but I think some of those other trees that were planted quite quickly, I think by Somerset Council and others, have suffered a little bit because they haven't got those protections. So I think anything that we can do to support that community initiative can be a good thing. Councillor O'Donnell.
Yes, I totally agree. I think it's very disappointing to see trees being vandalised. As an ex-teacher, I always say that education is the way forward when you want to improve behaviour. In fact, education is often better than sanctions, really. Actually, just change the mindset of people. Reading the report, there was one bit where there was a question as to whether they were going to do them to whole classes or whether they were going to do them in break times and lunch times, where students volunteer to go along. And if there is any feedback I'd like to give, I would I would rather they went and just did the whole class activities and just rather than relying on lunchtime where basically all you'll get along are the converted, the people who already appreciate trees. And so I'd rather we go and just tackle whole classes at a time. So if that's something we can feed back, let's do it that way and not do it through a voluntary. You know, the children can choose whether or not to turn up. I think we should just go and engage with them straight away. I have to say, as a scientist, I was thinking, oh, what's wrong with taking the scientific approach? But then when I saw the list of themes, you know, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, I thought, oh no, that's can't go wrong with Lord of the Rings, can you? And I don't know how you pronounce the name of the Norse tree.
Yggdrasil. I've got one. I made it one.
Okay. It's yes, absolutely. Go mythology. You can't go wrong with mythology and Lord of the Rings, absolutely. But so that's the only thing I would report back in and make sure that they go and deal with whole classes rather than make it on a voluntary basis, because you'll just be preaching to the converted.
Thank you. That's really useful, Councillor O'Donnell. I'm sure Tilly will take that back to Jordan and so on. Any more questions? Now we know what the Norse tree is called.
Yes.
I had just one comment.
Sadly can't, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah, sorry, Stephen.
No problem.
Yeah. I mean, by all means, after,
Yeah, sure.
want to feed in afterwards, drop an email
No problem.
to Tilly, that's fine. Yeah, sorry about
It's okay.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
we are about to suspend standing orders for break, aren't we?
Well, I didn't know whether we actually need one because I think we're almost, we've only got one more item.
Only one. Is it definitely only one?
Not for which we're suspending standard.
Only, we've only got one. Is it really only one? Yeah.
Yeah. Blimey, Bev, how did you manage this?
Yeah. I lost my Belvedere downstairs because I said it had gone to 9 o'clock.
Well, so moving back to this agenda item, I've lost my page about the Urban Tree Challenge Fund. So we're just being asked to do these recommendations to request delegated authority to community in place manager for the expenditure of £4,000, leaving £38,470 in the climate budget for the delivery of these events with youth demographics. Can I have a proposer? Councillor Ellis, and a seconder, Councillor Garside. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. And thank you, Timmy. So, and I'm going to confirm with Craig in a minute, but we've got access to information, motion to exclude the press and public for this following item. Now, I understand that the only little bit that could be potential is the appendix. Am I right?
Correct.
Have we all read the appendix?
I couldn't access the appendix.
Yes, because
What is the
they're all
appendix?
locked. It's quite hard to see it.
Okay, so in that case, if we're going to have to open them up so we can allow, then I will have to. So, so during discussion of the following item, agenda item 18, we will be necessary to pass the following resolution to exclude the press and the public, and having reflected on the presumption in favour of openness. This decision may be required because consideration of this matter in public may disclose information falling within one of the descriptions of exempt information in Schedule 12A to the Local Government Act 1972. The committee will need to decide whether, in all circumstances of the case, the public interest in maintaining the exemption outweighs the public interest in disclosing the information. The recommendation is that under section 100A(4) of the Local Government Act 1972, the public is excluded from the items of business of agenda item 18 on the grounds that it provides the likely disclosure of exempt information as defined in paragraph 3, respectively, of part 1, schedule 12A of the Act, namely information relating to the financial or business affairs of a particular person, including the authority holding that information. Can I have a proposer? Councillor Pollard and a seconder. Councillor O'Donnell, all those in favour? Carried. Thank you. Thank you. So could I ask Mike and Stephen
And you're free to say what you wanted to say now.
Also, if we do a biscuit, we make a biscuit.